All right, you guys, let's get started. Welcome to the latest Lead, Grow, Deepen Diversity series. We're getting started today. We have a dynamite presentation for you guys. I am your hostess with the mostest. I am Shannon Carroll Washington. I can't even say my name. I'm so excited about today and who we have. Before we get into it, if this is your first time at the Diversity series, if you've never seen or heard of us before, we are the Diversity Series. Today, our guest is Chef Monte Foreman-Powell. But before I bring him in, I just want to talk about what we do and what we are about. We lead with inclusion, we grow diverse representation, and we deepen our partnerships through diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that's the Diversity Series. We meet once a month to just talk about things. If you guys have guests that you want to bring on, let me know. A little housekeeping before we get started. If you guys look over to your right, I see you in there, Chrissy. You see that live chat? You can go ahead and put in any kind of comments, questions, whatever you have. They're going to show up on the screen. Woohoo, Chrissy, she's excited. I'm excited. She says hello from Boulder. Yes, hello, Chrissy. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being with us. So we're going to get started. We're going to talk for, about an hour with a guest. And before we bring in the guest, I have a little bit of a video presentation that I want to bring it in because I feel like to get to know this chef, you need to know, and this is just one part of his story. There is a lot to him, and I want to make sure that you guys know about him. When you saw the promo for this, you saw that he is an Army vet. He's a full-time Air Force spouse. And what he's going to be talking about is sharing his career in food and how he's used it to not only reach goals, but break barriers. And he brings a lot of creativity and inclusion in his cooking. So we're going to be talking about that. So, but before I bring him in, and you guys just check this out, he's like prepping his station. He's going to be showing us how to make some awesome brownies. This is live right now. So I cannot wait to see this. But before I bring him in, I definitely want to show you guys a video clip. And this is a newscast that it tells a little bit about his background. So I'm going to play this for you guys. It's a few minutes, but I just really want you guys to listen to this. And I think it's very timely because yesterday was National Coming Out Day. And so as we talk about the things that we're talking about today, I feel like this is perfect timing. This is a conversation that's ongoing. And Chef Monte is gracious enough to share his story. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for you guys. Chef Monte, go ahead and wave. We'll bring you in just a second. But you guys sit back, watch this for a second, and we'll be right back.
You may have seen them on The Ellen Show last month. The Papillion couple got a big surprise when they ended up live in front of a nationwide audience.
Now, Mario and Monte are back at home, but their story has spread around the globe. And tonight, the couple sitting down with KETV News Watch 7's Alexandra Stone to share how things are going since the show.
And
As Mario and Monte Foreman-Powell sat in the green room of the Ellen DeGeneres show,
it would be fun if I had two people named Mario and Monte to be guests on my show.
they had no idea Ellen would be calling them out onto the stage.
You guys, you want to be my next guest?
Yes! Oh my God!
All right.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
I can tell you, I was in pure shock. So when you see me, my reaction, that is when I found out I was going on the Ellen show.
The couple's appearance on Ellen started when Mario wrote to the show sharing he and Monte's story.
I don't really ask questions a lot because Mario's always up to something.
Even Mario says he never could have imagined they would end up on stage, the pair thinking they were simply watching a pre-recorded show.
It was definitely supposed to be a surprise.
Supposed to be. It was a surprise.
A big surprise and a time to share their story with a massive audience.
Mario and I, we've been together for almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years, August 17th.
August 17th.
He always forgets the actual day.
While the couple can share their story with the world now, Mario and Monte had to hide their relationship for years. They met in Colorado Springs, where Mario was working as director of music at a church. Monte joined the choir.
He was very flirtatious.
I didn't know how to flirt.
He was corny flirtatious.
This is my story.
The couple started dating in secret, afraid to share their love and worried Mario would lose his job at the church.
It was not really accepted to be gay. It was just very dark.
That at the end of life, still be you and I.
Mario and Monte eventually got married, but still had to hide their relationship. When they finally told the church, the couple says leaders gave them one option: get their union annulled.
A whole annulment.
As if it never happened.
Instead of an annulment, though, Mario ended up getting a new job as a vocalist for the United States Air Force Heartland of America Band at Offutt. Monte is an Army retiree who now works for the Corps of Engineers. So the military couple moved to Papillion.
I'm super excited. I'm like, yes, we can finally be free from all of this darkness.
Mario and Monte's life is shared with many now. Cooking with friends at home on a beautiful spring night is common. And after years of darkness, there's new light for the couple.
I know. I get so excited. I'm sorry. And some of the
Mario and
Pampers.
Monte are making plans to grow their family via a surrogate. It's an
Yeah.
expensive process, leading Monte to take on side jobs, baking cakes, and hosting online cooking classes to raise extra money. And the pair ended up getting a little help from Ellen herself. That big check now hangs in their home.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
And baby gifts from Ellen are set aside in what will eventually be a nursery. The couple has seen big support from celebrities to friends right here in the metro.
This means a lot to us, and this will probably be the very first outfit the baby wears.
A feeling they spent years without.
It's been a completely different world for me in the past 3 weeks just because I'm not used to that encouragement. I'm like, holy smokes, this is amazing. People I don't know, pastors, priests, bishops, like all that stuff.
It's still kind of overwhelming, honestly, because we get so many people that like reach out to us. I mean, when I say from everywhere, I mean, places I've never even heard of. Like,
The couple also glad their story is a source of comfort for others.
sometimes you have to be the reference point that you want to see, whatever that is.
A reference point to help others live and love freely, just as Mario and Monte do every day.
Just be true to yourself, and everyone that truly loves you will stand by your side.
Alexandra Stone, KETV Newswatch 7.
Okay, you guys, I don't know about you, but watching that, I am so excited to bring in Chef Monte Foreman-Powell. Yes, I have an ad play in the back. Hello. Welcome. Sorry, guys. The video didn't want to stop because it was just so good. So, you guys, I don't know. There's so much to unpack just from that video clip alone. I think one part of it was something very small in the video. Like, it said, you made cakes to help raise money for a surrogate. Like, it only had one liner. And for us being culinarians, being people in food, to be able to use your skills as a chef to do something like expand your family is amazing. I'm sure all of you guys have so many questions, comments, everything. I mean, Chrissy Christine, I mean, they are loving the video. They love all of it because, I mean, it's such an amazing story. And it's so, like I said, it's so timely. Everything. I mean, where do we even start? Where do we even begin? I mean, right now you're in your kitchen. I mean, this is where this is like you meet up, your friends are there, you're always cooking. I mean, okay, first of all, tell us your background in food. Like, when did you start cooking, all of that?
So a little bit about my background in cooking. I've been cooking as long as I can remember, since I was really a kid. I grew up really close to my mom, who literally was like the backbone of our family. She would cook holidays. She would cook pretty much every day of the week. She would cook for the neighbors, the neighborhood. She would cook for people that didn't have families or that didn't have, like, they lost parents, or they were just kind of struggling. So I've always just sit and watch my mom cook. And then one day I said, can I help? And, through many trials and errors. And she was like, you know what, this is how you're going to learn. And so really my mom was what really inspired me to start really cooking. And then, of course, I became a more professional chef. I went to culinary school. I got my baking and pastry degree as well as my culinary arts degree. And that was shortly after I was medically retired from the Army. So that's my cooking journey of how I got to where I am today.
Okay. So, I mean, I just feel like you just said all nonchalant, like, I do this. Like, you guys, I don't know how I met Chef Monte is literally, I knew somebody who ordered a cake from him and it was gorgeous. Like, I have pictures of all the stuff that he makes and I'm going to be flying them up on the screen. Tell me about this. What is this? This is what, a banana?
This is a banana cream cheesecake. So it's like banana pudding in a cheesecake. It has like a vanilla wafer and chestnut cookie crust with the cream cheese in the middle and, like the cheesecake filling. And then it has some caramel drizzle. And there's a sweet cinnamon crumble that's on top with some fresh whipped cream and fresh bananas. That's what that is.
I think I just gained like 5 pounds just looking at it because it just it's filling my soul right now. I'm going to get off of that because I'm like drooling as I'm talking to you.
That's the point.
Right? Like I'm looking in the comments and they're like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Yes, you guys. Yes. And the good news is not only did we get to talk to Chef Monte about his story, he's also going to teach us one of his recipes. I'm very excited about that. So before we get into that recipe, let me think, is there anything else that we need to talk about before we get into it? I don't think so. I think first, give me a little bit of a background about this particular recipe that you're going to cook. What is it? What are we talking about? What are we cooking today?
So today we're going to be doing a gluten-free brownie. I know it probably sounds like gluten-free. No, give me all the gluten. But that's really kind of what we're talking about today, diversity and inclusion. So I had a customer who I cook for on a regular basis. I would cook for her family, like regular meals, desserts, pretty much anything she wanted. I would cook it for her and her family. And so she recently went through a change in a diet plan. She started doing more gluten-free, keto-friendly things. And so one day she was like, hey, like, I used to make her brownies all the time, like the regular way, with flour and all that stuff like that. So she was like, I wonder if you can make a gluten-free brownie. But like, the thing is, I'm really afraid of getting rid of gluten because I love it so much and it tastes so good. And like most pastries and desserts, are gluten. So her and I came up together with different ideas. And she was like, I seen one day, like, maybe you can do it like with some sweet potatoes. And I said, so let me do some research. So I kind of put on my culinary hat from what I learned back in school and kind of what things you would substitute, did some research about it. And I was like, well, we can do the paleo brownie. At first, I was honestly nervous because I'm not necessarily a gluten-free chef. But in this culinary world, you have to adjust to your customers. You have to be appealing to at least the majority of the crowd. I know we can't please everybody, but she had been a long-time customer and I could not tell her no. So I was like, you know what? I might fail a few times, but let me figure this out. Luckily, it worked the first time. So surprisingly, you're going to see this brownie. You're going to be like, there's no way in the world that this brownie is made from sweet potatoes. But you're going to see it today. You're going to see everything I put in it. You can go tell the world that you can make a delicious, very moist brownie with sweet potatoes, no gluten at all. And this actually is keto friendly, omitting the honey. So this is also a keto and a paleo gluten-free brownie. So I guess I can go right in.
Yes, please.
Okay.
By all means, I'm taking my notes as we're going.
So this recipe is very, very quick. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. The main ingredient, as you can see, is sweet potatoes. I've diced up some sweet potatoes. I took off the skin, and I am doing really, I'm kind of doing like a double batch, but I guess a double batch makes about 24 brownie bites. So this option you can do either in like the bite size, just a cupcake pan, or you can do it in a regular, 13 by 9 or 6 by 6, 8 by 8. I think this is 8 by 8. So it's really up to you, whatever you want, how you want to mold it. I find it easier to do like bite size because it's easier to grab and go. But if you're, more of the traditional, you can do it in either or. But today we're going to do both. So I've already greased these pans down, and I've already preheated my oven to 325. So the main ingredient, literally everything is going to go right in the food processor. We're going to put our cup of sweet potatoes in there, just like that. Everything that you see here is going to be literally all in the same mixer. You don't even have to make that much of a mess. This right here is a half a cup of maple syrup. This is where it can be where it's keto friendly, because keto friendly you can have maple. It's limited, but like you can add the maple syrup for the keto style. What makes it not keto, of course, is the honey. So this is a quarter cup of honey. I'm just going to add that in there. Obviously, honey is not that easy to come out, but just going to add the honey to the maple. And this is going to give it the sweetness. Again, there's no actual like raw sugar or granulated sugar. It's just pure honey and maple. And also you get the natural sweetness from the sweet potatoes. We got 2 eggs. I've already pre-cracked these eggs. I'm going to add my eggs in there. I also have 4 teaspoons of vegetable oil. Okay. And we have our tablespoon and a half of vanilla extract. I'm serious, like this is super, super easy. Now, this is our gelatin. This is how we're gonna get the fluff in that brownie. So I have 2 packs of the gelatin, which are each of these are a tablespoon of if you maybe had it in a can, you can get them in a tablespoon, but most gelatin comes in little packets like this. So I just put 2 packets of the gelatin. And then we are going to add our baking soda, which is a teaspoon of baking soda. We're literally almost done. Like, that's how fast this is. And then we're going to add 3/4 cups of cocoa powder, which is obviously how we get our brownie flavor, the chocolate flavor. And then last but not least, we're going to add our nut butter, so almond and peanut. If you can either do all of almond or you can do all of peanut. I kind of mix them too because I like the flavors. And so we're going to do a cup of the peanut butter, and I'm going to do a half a cup of, I'm kind of eyeing this, but it's a cup. If you've been cooking long enough, you'll know like you can cook by your eye if that makes sense. But for people that like to measure, it is a cup of peanut butter, and this one has the nuts in it just because this is particularly what I like. If you don't like the chunkiness of it, you can do a smooth, creamy consistency one. And then the almond butter is very smooth. Sorry, I got peanut butter there. And again, it's going to be a half a cup of the almond butter. Okay. It's not that easy to get out, but that's about
And we
That's
have
about
a
a half a cup.
question as you're getting your nut butter out there. Is the sweet potato raw with the skin on or off?
The sweet potato is raw with the skin off. You can do it with the skin on if for more nutrients. But I take the skin off. But you literally the recipe you can put skin on or skin off. So, but for the recipe we're doing today, the skins are off and it's raw. It's not steamed. Literally just raw in its natural form. So we did not steam those sweet potatoes. And so literally I am going to just puree this all up. It's going to get loud in a minute. Okay, so once you see the consistency, you can see it's kind of like chunky. You see that? But it's creamy enough. You want to make sure that at least all of your sweet potatoes are not like in huge chunks. If you see that it's in huge chunks, you can keep going. But I think this is good. You can. It kind of looks like a chunky peanut butter or a chunky Nutella, if that makes sense. So I've already kind of made a batch earlier, so I'm going to add that to what we have here. So you'll take these out, and we're literally almost done with this. This is how simple this is. And Shannon, I'll get you this recipe. So if you want to share it with those who maybe be asking for it.
Yes, for sure.
I'll get you this recipe. Okay. Are there any questions while we're just pretty much getting ready to put it in our pans out there for me? Any questions of why I did anything or steps or anything like that?
I'm just mesmerized by it was super simple. Like I don't have to steam the sweet potato. For some reason I was like, oh, it's probably cooked, so I got to cook that before that. Like no.
When I think about recipes that especially when I'm sharing with other people, I think about simplicity and something that's easy, because most of us that do know how to cook, we're probably like, oh, there's a lot going on, and it's going to take me a while. And some people don't have enough time to be steaming potatoes and straining and all of that. We don't have some of us don't have that time. So literally this is as very simple as it can get. So the very final thing that we're going to add, can you?
Oh yeah, we have another question. Can we add hard squash instead of sweet potato?
Yes, you can do acorn squash. You can do what's another hard one? I think butternut squash may be hard. It needs to be hard enough, right? You don't want it to be more of the soft squash like zucchini or yellow squash. So acorn squash, I believe butternut squash is a good one. Any of the ones that have more of the sweet or the nuttier flavor is what you can use. So sweet potato, again, butternut squash, acorn squash. Can't think of any other ones right now, but those are three. Same exact measurements. You don't have to change anything. That's what's good about this, recipe.
We have another question. Would Wow Butter, it's a soy-based butter, work for more protein as well?
You can use butter. I didn't use butter at all in here, but there's plenty of protein here between the almonds and the peanut butter. I mean, you're getting a lot of protein with just the nuts by themselves.
Yeah. So if somebody was nut free, they could technically use like a soy-based butter.
Yes, they could. Okay. If they were, yes, you could totally substitute that. They do have, again, I know people, have nut allergies. There are several other soy or other nut-free items that you can or options that you can use for this.
Okay.
And the measurement is going to be the exact same. I've tried it with a soy, I forget the brand, but there was a soy when I was doing my trial and error. So I have tried it with other butters than this. Like I said, you can use all almond, all peanut butter, soy, pretty much as long as it's like pasty like this. That's what you're looking for in this recipe. The last thing we're going to add is of course, chocolate chips. You got to have extra chocolate chips in your brownies. So I'm going to save some for the top of it. And this, I would say about a cup of this, but it's completely up to you of like how much you want to add to this. I added some white chocolate and some semi-sweet chocolate. You can add dark chocolate if you like. You can add, caramel chocolate, whatever chocolate you want to add, it's completely optional. And so you also can add some walnuts in here, which I do have. So I'm just going to toss these in there. This is an optional item that you can add. Of course, if you like, pecans or pecans, however you say it, wherever you're from, you can add that in there. I know I say pecan where I'm from. Some people say pecan, potato, say how you please. So I'm just mixing those chocolate chips in there. And then literally we're ready to just go in our pans. Before I do this, do we have any questions about what I've added, substitutions? I've already
you pre-greased it. I think all of us are just mesmerized and we're like ready to see.
Yes.
what's
Yep.
next
So
in here.
if you're gonna do the mini ones or the shareable ones, you could just use a potato scooper or cupcake scooper, and you're literally just gonna put them right in the pan like this. And to me, I like these a lot easier. Like I said, it's easier to share. You don't have to worry about cutting. You don't have to worry about somebody, feeling like, hey, your piece is bigger than mine. If you got kids at home and they're like fighting over who gets the biggest piece of brownie, they're all the same. Don't worry. So I'm literally just adding these in here, just like that. Just like that. Okay. So that's how I put them in here. And what I'm going to do with the rest is just add it to the other pan so you can see how that will look. Okay. Again, like I said, it's an easy cleanup. We use limited amount of dishes. So that's kind of how I like it. I don't really like to cook where everything's everywhere because, as you all know, baking can be very messy. And today we tried to keep it as clean as possible. So I'm just going to spread this out. Spread this out evenly. And it will rise, trust me, don't you worry. So, and like I said, this is just my extra. So if you're using this pan for the whole thing, you'll have thicker brownies, but that's okay. We have the small ones. So here I'm going to just add a little bit of chocolate chips on top.
And as you're adding those chocolate chips, we have another question. Is that a non-stick pan or does it not, or does it just only greased pans?
This is a non-stick pan. Even though it's non-stick, I still kind of grease it just because sometimes I don't trust it. But if you have a non-stick pan, if you trust your pans, you don't necessarily have to add the spray to it. But I'm just so old-fashioned. I used to, back in the day, growing up, before I was, culturally aware, I used to just flour and use some flour and some what do you call it? Shortening. And that's how I would use it back in the day. But that's old-fashioned, and I've changed my ways a little bit. And so I'm just adding a little, as you can see, some of the nuts on top. Some of them are kind of chunky if you like it.
If only I was near you.
Yes.
I don't know how long it'll take to get these brownies to Atlanta, but it was easy enough. I can reproduce this happening.
Yep, and that was the goal, is to try to make it as simple and easy as possible. And so the oven's at 325. Just going to put these in there. Again. So, of course, we're on TV, so we have TV magic, And I wanted y'all to see what these look like because some of you still don't believe that it's going to come out great. So I've already baked some earlier. These are kind of fresh. I've made these about an hour ago. And this is what they look like. I mean, you can literally see it for yourself. I'm going to get something I can get one of them out with just so you can kind of observe and see what they look like. I really want you all to get into this brown. Look at that.
Oh, my God. The moist deliciousness.
Look at that brownie. Can you see that? This is the consistency of this brownie.
Oh.
And it fluffs up. You would think this is gluten. Look at this. See that?
Yes.
And so
I just have to say, the best part of you using those muffin tins is that you get crispy on all the sides. I'm a crispy brownie person.
Yes. I was going to ask if there's a poll out there. Do you like your brownies crispy? Do you like them soft? Do you like them the centerpiece, the edges. I'm curious because that's a war that's been,
you guys put it in the chat. Are you a crispy brownie edge or are you a middle person? Chrissy, I see you. I'm with you. I love the crispy. You guys go ahead and put it in the chat. Which brownie are you? Crispy edges? Are you fluffy middle?
Yes.
What are you? And we had another question as they're answering what brownie they are. How long do we bake those bites for?
Yes, perfect. So you bake it at 325 for 25 minutes. Okay. Now, this can vary based off of your altitude. So we're in Nebraska. We're a little bit higher than the South. If I was in Colorado, I would bake it probably 20 to 25 minutes because it bakes a lot faster up in the high altitude. In the South, sometimes you may have to go from 25 to 30. Mm-hmm. It's really based off your elevation. If you have ever baked before, you know how to adjust your temperature and how long you bake it. But we're in Nebraska. I bake these for about 24 minutes precisely. Okay. Now, if I was really making this all fancy and stuff, I would, top some whipped cream on top. I would make some caramel drizzle. I could put some Oreos on top, or if you have a gluten-free Oreo, they do have gluten-free Oreos. But like you can add all types of toppings on top. But I really wanted to get into this just so you all can see how these brownies look, and believe me that they are actually brownies, and they're not dry brownies. They're very moist, and they're very fluffy, and 100% gluten-free. Again, if you omit the honey, it could be keto friendly. So we're kind of hitting the gluten-free, the keto area, a little bit healthier. Like this is kind of like less of a guilty brownie because you don't have all the sugar and the flour. And if you're even into the dark chocolate, you got dark chocolate in there. Completely up to you. So do we have any questions about this?
So that's for the brownie bites. If they were to cook it in the square pan, does the baking time go extended because it's one big brownie?
So the size pan that I have will cook the exact same time. As you notice, I think I had an 8x8. But yes, if you're going to do, like, let's say if you triple this batch and you're making a longer pan, you would adjust it. I would say if you have a 13x9, which is probably a standard for a brownie, I would kick it up maybe another 3 minutes, or just do the toothpick test, or if you kind of like touch it and it bounces back, that's kind of another way you can test it, because sometimes times are not accurate because weather matters, altitude matters. Somebody's stomping on the floor. Is it up? Like we have a basement here, so we're on a higher level. But if we're on a solid ground, it would cook a lot even versus like somebody's running around the house. It's a real thing. So yeah, the time I would adjust it. If you're going to do a 13x9, which is another standard one, I would say kick it up from 25 to 30 minutes. Add the extra 5 minutes in there, or until it comes clean from a toothpick or it bounces back on your finger.
All right, you guys, put ones in the chat if you have enjoyed this demo of brownies. I think I have all the ingredients already at home. I'm excited about this because normally I'm like, I don't have anything to cook, but I definitely have some sweet potatoes. Yes.
Very inexpensive. I mean, literally you can get all of this for maybe 10 to 15 bucks. The most expensive thing is going to be the almond butter, but if you don't want almond butter, peanut butter is very inexpensive. Of course, the soy butters are going to be a little bit more expensive, but really you can substitute any of this. This is just the way I do it. For a friend of mine who is gluten-free, she loves these. She orders these all the time. She ordered these in bulk, and I just like send them out to her in DC. So. Oh
my goodness, this was so good. All right, so thank you for the demo. Now to the actual conversation.
Let's get to it. I am going to just try one of these, because we're here. And by the way, the cameraman is my husband.
I was about to get to that.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'll let you take over, and I'm just going to try one of these brownies.
You're going to try this brownie. I'm like, if you guys notice, we had 3 camera angles. There's me sitting here drooling. There's Monte in the kitchen on his laptop. And if you guys, all I have to say is the camera, the production of the camera just now. If you guys don't know, now you know that Monte's husband is the bombest cameraman in the land.
Yes.
OMG.
Yes. Can I turn the camera on?
Mario right there. Yes.
I'm trying to come around.
Oh, look, thank you, Mark. If you guys liked all the camera angles and you enjoyed the demo, put ones in the chat for Mario because he did an excellent job. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, and yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's get into this conversation.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and keep talking. I know you're going to eat brownies while we're talking.
I'm sorry. I wish I could send it all out to you right now.
I know. It's fine. You gave me the recipe. So we're
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I mean, we initially started, I think in our pre-interviews, I was really excited about this because when we talk about allergens and we talk about being inclusive with our diners, you know, being inclusive with our users and what we can do. Because I mean, we have control over what we're putting on the plate and
Absolutely.
alternatives to the traditional ways that we're making it. So what would you say to other culinarians that, you know, what would you say the benefit of stepping outside of the normal box and saying, hey, you can appease somebody else by trying something different?
I will say, like I mentioned about this recipe, it can be hard when you step outside of cultural norms, what you're used to. Like I said, I did not grow up gluten-free. I didn't grow up vegan. I didn't grow up any of those things. But as I grew in age and became more mature in my cooking, I realized that like when you have a customer, the idea behind a customer is to please them in any aspect, because the most important advertisement you have is word of mouth. But I don't care how much you pay in advertisement, how much you post it. If your stuff does not taste good, or if it's somebody was like, hey, that person was horrible, they told me no at this, that's going to get around way faster than a post can get up and say, hey, this person makes great brownies. And so for me, when it comes down to like stepping outside of the box, it can be challenging. But like I would say, just take the challenge. You know, most of us know when it comes down to recipes, sometimes we fail at them. Sometimes it's like with this one, I got a lucky strike the first time. But, you know, some recipes I tried 15 times and it was like, you know, I had a customer that asked me to do a soy-free vegan, or not soy-free, a gluten-free vegan item. And I was like nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, like I never really made this before. What if it's nasty? Or what if she's like, no, I'm not coming back anymore. But after I made that for her and she was like literally in tears, because I had made that for her, it started to let me know like, whoa, you can do more than you think you can. You just have to keep trying. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to, you know, get to a point where you're like, I can do this, but like, you know, I'm kind of ambivalent about it. That's normal for all of us because we're used to being what we are. We're used to staying in that box. But I challenge anyone that is, you know, ambivalent about, you know, stepping outside of the normal to just, you know, just try it. The worst that's going to happen is you fail and you try again.
And it's not really a failure. It's just you find out what doesn't work. So you got another way to figure out. Like you just figured out another way that doesn't work. And
Absolutely. There you go. Absolutely.
In the beginning, if you guys missed it, we played a clip from a local news station where they talked to Mario and Monte about their story and expanding their family. And Monte has been catering and making cakes to raise money for a surrogate. Ellen DeGeneres. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Ellen. Ellen decided to gift you guys with a big fatty check to help you in this process.
Yes.
Any updates with that? How's it going?
Yes. So this is our update right here.
You guys, it's a girl.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually just found out it was a girl last weekend. The weekend before last. Our mothers came in town and they did a gender reveal. We had no idea. They surprised us. It was really hard because it's like you just want to know what your baby is. But like we were very, very successful the first time. We were very blessed to have it the first time because we went through IUI at home through Mosey Baby, who is a amazing company, and they sponsored us in at home kits because at home kind of like IUI, and this is the kits that we kind of got into. And so they sponsored us at home and everything worked the first time. Literally, there's a very low percentage of people who are successful the first time trying to conceive through IUI or IVF. And I mean, literally by whatever universe or belief, what you believe in, it all came to fruition. We got pregnant the first time, very successful. We've been to every appointment with our surrogate, who is an amazing, amazing woman. And the baby's doing just fine. She's growing fine. She has all her limbs, her toes, her fingers, heart rate's doing well. And we're expecting in February. We have a Valentine's baby if she comes on that day. So that's when we're expecting.
And so if people want to follow this story, because I know I'm intrigued, where can they follow your story?
Yes, so we are. We have a page on Facebook, Mario and Monte. You can literally, we're the only Mario and Monte on the social media platforms. Same thing with Instagram, on YouTube, all of those platforms. We're there. Same thing with TikTok, same name, Monte Foreman-Powell. So if you put our name in any platform, you will find us. We're the only Foreman-Powells, of course, until Marayla gets here, which is her name.
Oh, so oh my, like the fact that even before Ellen, like the hard work, because cooking is not your main gig, right? Like
no,
you
not at
are
all.
a student, you are full-time, this and that. And one of the things, like I know because I've talked to you, like mental health is really what you work in. And it's really ironic because yesterday was International Mental Health Awareness Month, or Mental Health Day, I should say. And so we were celebrating that. And it just seems like all the things around mental health, all the things, you said a really great quote during that newscast. You said sometimes you have to be the reference point that you want to see. How do you think that quote relates when we talk about diversity, when we talk about mental health, we talk about coming out day? Like, how does that all come together?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that when I hear that, the phrase that you heard me say, it even gives me chills, because it's like, first of all, I have had to be the reference point for my own life, for one, and then my husband and I have had to be the reference point for what we're going through right now, because we don't typically see that. And so what I mean when I say that is, there are a lot of things in this world we have a reference point for. Like we have, how to be a doctor. Like, okay, well, you got to go to school and you got to go through med school, and sure, there's various ways to get there, but there is usually a catalog or a reference point, or you've seen, somebody that's doing this already. And so you can go to that person and say, hey, how did you get to where you are? I want to know more. Well, for my situation, I don't have anyone in my immediate family that I knew that is doing what I'm doing. So as you mentioned, being a culinarian and a chef is not my full-time job. That's something I do. I was doing a lot more heavily back then, especially trying to raise money to, for our surrogate, and that journey, working full-time and being a full-time master's student in clinical mental health. It was a lot because I'm not used to seeing that. For one, already in the mental health field, we have a lack of diversity there. So it's very heavily, women, specifically white women, and let alone, assumably straight, population. And so even in my program that I'm at now, I'm one of the few African-American men. And of the program, knowingly, I am at least publicly known, the only LGBTQ therapist in training. And so that was a lot for me, because I'm like, sometimes it's hard, because it's like, I wish I could see what this looks like. Like I wish I could, prime example, and a greater aspect, Barack Obama was one of the first, African-American, biracial, whatever you want to, identify, whatever he specifically identifies, but he was the first of his kind to do that. So he did not have, there were presidents many times before him, but there was never a African-American, president. Same thing with Kamala Harris. She is the first woman of color, first woman at all to even be the vice president. So she did not have someone she can go and ask, hey, how did you become the first woman to do this? Or, President Obama, how did you become the first president to do this? Because they didn't see that. So they didn't have a reference point that was like them. And so that's what I mean by that statement is, sometimes if you don't see something, don't run away from it like we naturally do. We naturally run away from, I'm scared. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And, I don't have anybody I can call and say, hey, how did you do this? So we often kind of are fearful for it. So we back off from it, or we don't achieve that goal and that dream because we don't know what it looks like. And so for me, I am literally being the reference point that I have to be for myself. I'm the first in my family to being an open marriage, same-sex couple, having a baby through surrogacy. I am literally the first in my entire family, and I have a huge family. Same thing, with my husband. We are the first of our entire family to be an open homosexual couple going through surrogacy and having a baby. So that's what I mean by that phrase.
Yeah, representation matters.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we look at it, and even like mentorship in the kitchen and what we see and the leadership, when we started this diversity series, we were really heavily focused on women in culinary, because when you go and you see the executive chefs, they're usually always men. And it's like, where are the women? When we started this series, there was a stunning stat that showed, like, when you come into the kitchen, everybody's male to female is 50%. But as you start to move up into manager and then like other leadership, it goes all the way down to 18% are women. So 1 in 5.
Right.
It goes from 1 to 1 to 1 in 5. And so we're trying to break that gap, and we're trying to show that representation matters. And that's one of the things with Lead, Grow, Deepen is that we want to grow that representation. And so I'm with Meg. Meg just put this in here. You and your husband, thank you both for being a reference point. I mean, whoever's watching this, whether you're watching this on replay or you're watching it again because you didn't get it enough the first time. I mean, even if I don't identify with the same community as you, I can identify in that you took a step of faith,
Absolutely.
you took a step of boldness, and saying, okay, he did something crazy. I can do something crazy. It worked out for him. I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't know if you have a lucky charm or what. I mean, between sweet potato brownies and surrogacy, first try, it happens.
My mom tells me I'm her lucky baby because I'm number 7.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Lucky number 7. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you guys, if you have questions, put them into the chat as we begin to wrap up.
Yes, please.
One of the other things that I wanted to touch on with you is you not only are a phenomenal cook, you are a phenomenal gardener.
Yes, I am. What you're seeing right there, that was just my first harvest. I don't know if you want me to necessarily go out there or to show you or not, but okay.
No, we're good.
But so that was my first harvest of the season. For me, again, as Shannon was saying, I am in the mental health career field. I am a counselor in training. So I am into less traditional counseling. I currently, at my new recent job, I'm working with the Nebraska Indian Health, Urban Health Coalition, and we work with marginalized families, Native Americans specifically, that are, either impoverished or they don't have the basic needs to even reach mental health. Because a lot of times when it comes down to mental health, especially in marginalized communities, we can't even afford to get to mental health. For years to come, I mean, mental health is very new. We're talking over the last 50 to 60 years, that we're now focusing on mental health and calling it, it's a thing. And we have our own, entity now. And so gardening for me is very therapeutic. Even just for myself, like I said, I am an Army medical vet. I had for years suffered with PTSD, and I had to get out of, I did not want to get on medicines. I wanted to do more natural, or spiritual, or things that ground me. And baking has done that for me. Gardening has done that for me. Working out has done that for me. And so I am more into the more natural forms of therapy. And so that is what I want to, spread to, across the land. And I'm not at any means saying that, prescription medication is not beneficial, because there are some amazing ones out there. But the reality is we do have an opioid crisis. And, and I know for me, it just wasn't, it didn't fit me. And so I really took up gardening. It's just you're watching a baby grow. You plant this seed, and then, whoa, this whole cabbage that you just seen there, or purple bell peppers and orange, watermelon and yellow watermelon. I'm like, what? That's a thing? I did that? And so for our gender reveal, some of the stuff from the garden was served to all the people. And I'm like, this is just amazing to me that I watched this grow from literally the seed, and now it's as you see right in front of you. And so, like I said, that's just one of those things that are very therapeutic for me. I challenge anyone who, if you don't have a green thumb, that's fine. There are very easy ways of gardening. I really didn't do much research when it came to gardening. I just, like I do most things, I just get lucky the first time. And my neighbors come over and she's like, how did you do all of this and that fast? And I planted way before you. And I'm like, because I didn't even do much Google. I was like, I'm going to plant this seed. You know, I know you got to have soil, water, you know, and sun. And that's all I'm going to go by, and just fingers crossed. And I just happen to get lucky.
Okay, so if we take nothing else from this call, Monte is magic. I mean,
it's the number 7. It's the number 7. That's what it is.
Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, we are out of time. We probably will have you back. Probably a garden session. I think that needs to be the next one. And
yes, so I have enjoyed it.
Thank you. And thank you to Mario as well for being the cameraman and being there, and just you guys sharing your story. When we talk about Lead, Grow, Deepen, like stories like this matter and representation matters. And you guys being honest and just being out there to share your story. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
As we wrap up, I'm just like, I'm in awe. I'm going to go make those brownies. I'm going to
show you the second batch that just came out.
Oh my God, they just came out. Look at the timing.
Look at that. Perfect timing. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Can you all see that good?
Oh my goodness. So literally we had a call, and by the end of the call, we can have beautiful brownies. Like that, you guys.
Yep, and this
is the even TV magic. It was just
this one is the square.
Oh, that looks
same exact time.
So good. Oh my goodness. Sweet potato brownies, y'all.
Yes.
All right. I'm hearing in the chat, we're going to be sharing the recipe. So we'll put the recipe into the video description coming up. And, you know, any last words to anybody else? I'm with you, Meg. Like, Monte is just straight up magic. I mean, that's what it is. Yes.
I just want to take the time to at least to say thank you to all of you all for even listening to me. Again, I like to believe I'm just the average Joe. Many people don't believe it, but I just, you know, I'm just a human just trying to make it through life like everybody else. And if I could share anything, like I said, be the reference point that you want to be or that you need to see, you know, just it's hard sometimes. Just keep on going.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, you guys, this wraps up the latest Lead, Grow, Deepen, the diversity series. Share the link with your friends, family, whoever you think needs to watch it. It's here. We're going to put the recipe down in the video description for you guys. So thank you, and we will see you later for the next one. Bye.